argue against the notion that free trade increases poverty in the third world. The author contends that historically, countries achieving significant growth support by openness to international trade. Examples like Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and Taiwan, which embrace trade, are cited as having largely eliminated poverty. In contrast, India's slower growth during period of trade restriction in the 1960s and 70s is present as evidence against the anti-free trade argument.
And while these countries did experience significant growth and poverty reduction alongside increased trade, attributing causality solely to free trade is an oversimplification. This Asian tiger also implemented strong state-led industrial policies, invested heavily in education and infrastructure, and benefit from specific geopolitical contexts. Their success was a complex interplay of factors, not just open trade. The article presents correlation as causation and claim India's slower growth and limited poverty reduction during periods of trade restriction 1906 until 1907 support the pro-free trade argument. Okay, thank you.
India's economic challenge during that period were motivated by trade policies, internal factors like bureaucratic inefficiencies, social inequalities, and specific development strategies also played significant roles, attributing the lack of progress solely to trade reaction ignores this other crucial variable. Furthermore, some argue that import substitution policies in early development can foster nascent industries. Trade helped produce rapid growth, leading to a pull-up effect when the poor through employment and increased fiscal capacity for anti-poverty programs.
While the trade can greatly implement the quality of and the nature of that implement matter. Increased trade can also lead to a race to the bottom in labor standard and wage as a country competes. Additionally, the benefits of economic growth are not automatically distributed equitably. Without strong social safety net, progressive taxation, and target intervention, growth might disproportionately benefit the wealthy while leaving the poor behind or even worsening their relative position. The trickle-down theory mentioned has been widely debated and often criticized for its limited effectiveness. Claim: World Bank data show a decline in the proportion of the poor in developing countries 1987 to 1999 during a period of increased trade.
Focusing solely on the proportion can be misleading, when the absolute number of poor people might still be high or even increasing. As the article itself acknowledges, increased absolute number of poor has changed by 1.2 billion. A reduction in the proportion could simply be due to overall population growth. Furthermore, the 1987 until 1999 period was also marked by other significant global change, including the fall of the Soviet Union and shift in global economic policies, making it difficult to isolate the impact of trade liberalization alone. The choice of this specific time frame could also be selective. Claim is research suggests an even larger reduction in the absolute number of poor during 1987 until 1999 than official figure.
Hello, this is Marla and this is the Boom 5. Okay, while alternative research can offer valuable perspective, it's crucial to examine the methodology and assumptions behind such studies. The description is proper measurement and data collection across countries. Make the fairly global proper figures challenge to appetite. Relying to potential discord figures to strongly support the free trade agreement is problematic. Thank you.
The article presents a seemingly straightforward argument linking fair trade to poverty eradication, primarily through historical example and broad trends. However, a closer examination reveals several potential flaws in its reasoning. Oversimplification of causality, attributing economic successful or failure solely to trade policy ignores the complex interplay of various domestic and international factors. Selective advance, the examples chosen might not represent expression of all developing countries. Ignoring distributional effects, the article focuses on overall growth but doesn't address how the benefits of trade are distributed and whether the poor generally benefit. Methodical concern relies on potential limited or debate data, and time frames weakness the strength of the conclusion, while fair trade can be component of successful development. Strategy is not a guaranteed path to proper education and can even exacerbate inequalities if not accompanied by apparent domestic. Politics and global regulation, a more nuanced understanding, acknowledge both of the potential benefits and risks of trade liberalization for poverty in the developing world.